So if you remember, we have discussed about the requirement data solution. This is the requirement document for Centrex data solution. One second. Yeah. So this is the requirement document of the Centrex data solution here. You see. So what was our requirement? We need to get the data from the Excel file and we need to process the data. So there is a Excel file called as orders Excel file, and we are supposed to create the orders in Centrex data solution application. And these are all the manual steps. Now we are supposed to automate. What is the first action we are supposed to perform? Enter staff number and password and click on button login. Okay. So that's what we are doing here. We are capturing the elements like staff number text box, password text box, and also we are capturing this button login text box. And then we are going navigating to home page. After logging in, we will be navigating to the home page. When we are inside the home page, there we are going to capture these orders. Okay. So why are we capturing these orders? Because we are supposed to create the order, right? If you want to create the order, we need to navigate to the order menu page. Once you click on this orders button, only then you will be navigating to the order menu page. This is our order menu page where you will be choosing the option. So to create the order, the option value is 1. So we enter option value as 1 and we'll click on go. Then we will be navigating to the next screen where we will be entering the product code, unit price, quantity, customer account number, and then priority order. And quantity is a drop down. We have discussed about this also. And then we are supposed to capture submit button. After that, we are going to get the reference number. Then we will be capturing the reference number and we'll click on OK. Likewise, we need to repeat these steps for all the records present in the Excel file. So let's say this is our Excel file in which we have the data for which we are supposed to create the orders. This is our Excel file for which we are supposed to create the orders. Okay, and then update the reference number back into the Excel file. Okay. So as some of you have missed this session, I'm going to repeat how we are going to create the order for, how we are going to create the object for this Centrex data solution. Okay, so people who have already, who have already attended this session, or if you are comfortable in creating the object, right? What you guys can do, you can go ahead and build the solution in the object. By the time, you can go ahead and build the object in BluePrism. By the time you guys go ahead and build it, right, I will finish up this concept for people who have not able to attend the session, this particular session. Okay, for them alone, I'm going to repeat this. So people who are comfortable on how to use this specific, how to build this object and all, you guys can go ahead and build the object. Clear? Okay. So now I'm going to close this. Let us create the new object. This is our requirement document. Now we are clear on the requirement part. Now let us go to the object studio. First thing is we are supposed to create a new object here. We are supposed to create a new object. Provide the name Centrex data solution object. Next, provide the description to create new orders in CDS application. We are building this object. Okay, you can directly open the object from here itself. Click on finish, it will automatically open the object. So this is the object. We just created the object. In object we'll be having initialize, cleanup, and action. don't write any flow inside initialize and cleanup until I explain you why to, I mean, when to use this initialize and cleanup. So basically, this initialize and cleanup pages will be called automatically, and initialize is going to initialize all the data items or the variables present inside the object. Okay, when it initializes the object, in the background there will be a space generated, so that all the data which is being transferred from process to object or object to application, everything will be maintained in that virtual space, which we won't be able to see. Okay, that is the reason we have initialize. And during cleanup, it is going to clean the space which has been allocated. So basically, you also initiate the classes in your programming language, right? In the same way, it will be called automatically. You don't need to specifically use this in the process studio, it will be called automatically. Okay, now coming to the action part. So first thing is, we are supposed to define the application modeler. Only then we can build the actions here. So what is our first step? Go ahead and define the application modeler, where we are going to integrate the application here. This is the place we are going to integrate the application. Click next. So what type of application we are planning to automate? We are planning to automate Centrix data solution application. Okay. Now click next. It is a Windows application. It is of type exe, right? It is an executable file. So choose Windows application here. Click on next. And my application is launched from an executable file. I told that my application will be already running. I want to attach to an existing instance. So we'll do this later. But now go ahead and do this. My application is launched from an executable file. Now click next. Now browse the exe path where exactly the application is available. You should go ahead and find out the exe path, not the shortcut icon. So let's say, for example, if you are automating Google browser, okay, if you want to launch Google browser here, what are you supposed to do? So basically, you need to identify the exe path of the Chrome application. Let's say if you want to launch Chrome application, you need to identify the exe path, not the icon which is present on the desktop. So basically, you will be able to see the icon right on desktop. See, on my desktop, I have a Google Chrome icon. This is not the one you are supposed to check. You are supposed to go for exact path where it is available. Okay, so browse. So this is the place where you can find Google. Similarly, I need to locate where exactly my application is available. So my application will be in E drive. There will be a folder called BP help, and then I'll be going to a folder Centrix data solution. Select this and open. I have already shared with you. I have given the link for all the practice material and all. What you can do, you can download it, you can store it in a specific path, okay, and then you can use this. We don't need to pass any command line parameters. I have already explained what is the I mean, we do with command line parameters in the previous session. You can take a look into that. Enter the working directory of the target application. So whatever the directory in which your application is available, you can pass that path here. Disable invasive techniques. I'm not going to have any other invasive techniques like any third party controls to be used in that application. I don't want to do any cooking on that. So we have already discussed about the application manager mode. We'll be having different types of application. Based on the type of application, you have to choose this. So there is no extra options. Simply finish. So most of the desktop applications, you don't need to choose any other options over there. You just define the path in the parent element. This will be our parent element. So we just define the path where our exe file is located. That's all. Now the same way, yesterday we have seen how we can automate this web application. Similarly, here also, we'll start with the first element. Okay. So first element, launch the application first. Launch the application first. So to make sure if the application is launched or not, we are going to capture the window of this application. So for that reason, I'm going to identify, click on identify. Once you click on identify, you will be able to see identification tool over here. So for web application, which we are automating it using Internet Explorer, only then you will be able to see HTML spy mode. All the Windows application you will be able to see Win32 spy mode. Okay. Now this is the desktop application. Control left click. Now we are going to capture the elements. So what is this? This is the window. Window underscore login. This is the main window. Okay. Now attribute selection here. You can see yesterday we have seen ID value, right? Similarly here we will be able to see Windows text. So for this window, what is the Windows text? Centrix data solution hyphen please login, and that will be unique for login page. You can see here. Centrix data solution please login Windows text. You won't get the same attribute names that you are getting in a different spy mode. The values will be changing. That what to select, the attribute names will keep changing here. Okay. The same thing if you capture in a different spy mode. Let's say for example, I'll add one more element, identify. So the same thing I'm capturing it in UI automation spy mode. See what is the value you're going to get. So when you capture it in UI automation spy mode, you'll be getting different attributes names here. So each spy mode will be capable of identifying the properties of that control in its own method. Okay. So Win32 spy mode will be able to identify the properties in a normal, normal language, and here also it will be able to identify, and it will be able to identify most unique properties. UI automation will be able to identify most unique properties here. Okay. So that is the purpose of UI automation spy mode. So whenever you are not able to spy any of the control using Win32 spy mode, even after spying that, after selecting match index and all, if you're still not able to identify that, or if you're not able to highlight that, then what you can do, you can simply change the spy mode. You can simply change the spy mode also here. Okay. So got my point, what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So it is not mandatory that you are supposed to use only this specific Win32 spy mode. You can use UI automation spy mode also. Clear? So the purpose of this UI automation spy mode is it will be identifying the unique values, okay, unique properties of the text box or the window or the button, whatever it may be. Now you can see here we can eliminate only this one alone, and remaining all will be unique. You can see here the name will be Centrix Data Solution. Please log in. Here under UIA name you are getting that value, but whereas when you capture it in Win32 spy mode, you are getting it as Windows text, and the value is coming here. Okay, so that is the difference between spy modes. Only the name of the name column will be updated. Name, you will be getting different names over here. Okay, different names over here, but mostly the values will be same in different spy modes. Along with that, you will be getting some more attributes which will be unique when you use UI automation spy mode. Okay, so it is not mandatory that you are supposed to use only single spy mode for Windows application. You can use any spy mode. If you are not able to, ideally the recommended spy mode is Win32 spy mode for Windows application, HTML spy mode for automating web application in Internet Explorer. But if you are not able to use those spy modes and not able to capture the element correctly, then you can switch the spy mode. Okay. So under this, I'm going to add a child inside this window. Now we are going to capture, click on identify, and we are going to capture staff member. We call it as text box underscore staff number. And I have already told you how to capture the, how to select the attributes for this. How do we select the attributes for this? So if you remember yesterday we discussed, right? So for text boxes, the value will be empty. So here the Windows text value is empty for this text box here. Observe it. the text box Windows text value is empty because there is no data in this. So now let's say if I write my username BP, now if I capture the element once again, see I got the value as BP, and as we discussed yesterday, we will eliminate default true values here, and if I highlight now, it will highlight. But whereas when I launch my application for the first time, the staff number and password value will be empty. I should be able to enter the data into that. So if I want to enter the data into that, if I say now, if I choose this element to enter the data into that, if I try to highlight, is it going to highlight? It will not highlight because it will try to match with the query terms which we have defined here. These will be the query terms which we have defined here, and it will try to check if the Windows text is having DP or not. Because here every person will be having their own username and password to access any application. Okay, to access any application, each person will be having their own username and password. So it keeps changing, right? That is the reason we don't use this Windows text here. And so without Windows text, how will I be able to identify this text box? Then you can go for match index. So now if I highlight this, it will highlight password. It is highlighting password because password is having same class name, but the index value it starts from 1 2. Index value for password will be 1, index value for staff number will be 2, and that is the reason we are not able to highlight staff number and password is getting highlighted here. So what we do, we update the value to 2 and say highlight. Now we are able to highlight this staff number. You keep changing the index value and check if you are able to highlight it or not. Else what we do, still if you are not able to highlight this, then what you can do, add one more element, try to identify it in, click on Alt, you can switch the spy mode. Now try to capture that in UI automation spy mode. When you capture that in UI automation spy mode, you will get a unique value. What is that? Automation ID. You can see this automation ID will be unique. TXT underscore staff number. So when you choose this and eliminate the empty values here and click on highlight, see you will be able to highlight that perfectly without doing any other changes. You don't need to select match index also here. So that is the advantage we have with UI automation spy mode. But is it recommended to use UI automation spy mode all the time? No, because sometimes the UI automation spy mode will take time to highlight the element because it will try to check in the whole application properties of each and every control. It will try to check the properties of staff number. It will try to check the properties of like text box, each and every text boxes in the background, and it is going to take some time. Okay, so that is the reason. First, we recommend Win32. If you are not able to do it using Win32, then you can go for UI automation spy mode. Is that clear? So here, the first one, okay, same thing. Now we'll make it as match index value. Where is the match index value? Match index, and make it as 2. For this, let us make it as 1 so that it will be password. This will be text box underscore password. Password. Okay. Highlight. Clear. Likewise, we capture all the elements in the application. Okay, and add one more element here. Identify. This is going to be our button login. So repeatedly, if you keep practicing this one, right, you will be able to understand this one very clearly. Okay, so now manually we will navigate through all the screens. So hope you have noted down the username and password for this. So username will be BP, password will be password only. Let me ping you in the chat box once again. So I have pinged you in the chat box. BP is the staff number value. Password is the password value. BP and password. Those are the values which you are supposed to enter in staff number field and password field to log in. Okay. Now we are able to navigate to the home page. Now we are in the home page. Okay. In home page. So let us go back to our requirement document. So in the requirement document, so in the requirement document, what did we mention? So here we have entered staff number, we have entered password, then we are able to click on login button. Once you have captured these elements, now you are supposed to click on orders button. Before clicking on orders button, right, what we do here, make sure we are in the home page of the application. Okay, and how are we going to make sure of that? So what we do here, add one more element here. First thing is we are going to identify and capture the whole window. I'll explain you why we are capturing the whole window. Window underscore home, and I'm going to make sure that this bulletin board will be available or not, because you observe it carefully once again. Why I'm going to capture the bulletin board, BP and then password. See how the application is going to function. So once I click on login button, you can observe it is taking time to load this page, right? Loading. So while it is loading, now here you can see the bulletin board. Now it is available. Till then it keeps loading. Okay. Till then it keeps loading. So for that reason, I will make sure that this particular element is available. So for that, I will add a child to this, identify, I will capture this bulletin board, label underscore bulletin board. Okay. Now eliminate the values here. So for labels, buttons and all, you will be getting this Windows text value by default. Okay. Whereas text boxes, it will be empty. Now similarly, let us add one more element for this. Click on identify, capture button orders here, and you can see for this also you have got the Windows text value orders, and once you click on highlight, it will highlight orders button here. And similarly, now we are going to click on orders button as per the requirement. So basically what should be doing that, as we are capturing the elements, we are navigating manually. Okay. Now in this page also we need to make sure that we are in the order menu page. Okay. So after we make sure that we are in the order menu page, then we will be entering the option value and click on go. So type 1 into text box and click on go, because 1 is the option to create a new order. That is the reason. So now come back here. Let us go to our application modeler. Now add one more element to this window only. Again, I'm going to identify the whole window. First, we will identify all the windows. I'll explain you why I am capturing all the windows. Window underscore order menu. This is our order menu window. Now under this, let us add an element. Identify this specific text which will never change. Now I'm going to capture the, you have to identify. So let's say in future you will not be automating the same application, you might be automating some other application where you need to make sure you are capturing an element which will not change, okay, very frequently. So this might change, this option values might change after 1 year or after 2 years, something like that. Okay, then they might be having more requirements. That time we can go ahead and recode it. But whereas when we are trying to um, if you find any value which keeps changing for every 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, don't capture such elements. Okay, to make sure that you are on the screen, you should not capture such elements. Only to use it in the wait stage we are going to capture this, so that I am going to make sure that I am in the right page. Only for that reason I am identifying an element which will not change frequently. Understood? Now this one, let us name it as label. It is a label, right? Control name of the control and its related name. Okay, option values, and then we add one more element, capture the text box over here, text box underscore, what is the option. So we eliminate this and go to match index, highlight, we are able to highlight. Perfect. Okay, now let us add one more element. So why are we adding one more element? Because we have button go. Let us choose button underscore go. This will be our button here. Okay, highlight this and we will be able to highlight. Now similarly, so after capturing these elements, now when you navigate to the next page, in the next page also we have to make sure that we are in the right page, and then we need to capture the required elements from this page also. Okay, so let me add element and identify the whole window of this new order. I'm identifying the whole window. No, we should navigate to the next page and then we have to capture it. I'm going to re-identify that. Okay, you can re-identify the element also. The currently selected element in the tree already contains information from a previous by operation. This information is about to be replaced. Yes, by mistake I have captured some other window, so I am going to replace it. Once you click on yes, it will again open the identification tool. Now you will be able to recapture it. So once you recapture, name the element window underscore, what is that, which window this is, new order. Okay, so once this is done, let us add elements under this. So what are all we need to capture? We should be able to enter product code, we should be able to enter unit price, we should be able to select quantity, and we should be able to enter customer account number, and then we should be able to check on the checkbox priority order, and we should be able to click on button submit. Okay, so how many elements we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, total 6 elements here. We have 6 elements, and we need 7 elements because we need to make sure that we are in the right page. So we are going to capture this label also. So first thing is label, enter data. So let us capture that label first. So let us uncheck the unwanted attributes from the list. Now highlight it. So we are able to highlight. Similarly, every time you do the attribute selection, right, make sure that you are highlighting that element so that you'll get the confirmation that you have captured it properly. Okay. So if you forget to do this, right, if you forget to highlight, right, what is going to happen if you simply leave it like that and you mention like I capture the element text box underscore, I say product code, and if you forget to do the testing here, right, after capturing the element, if you forget to highlight it and check, what is going to happen? It will throw an error because we don't know whether the attributes are going to satisfy the, will it be able to highlight the product code or not, right? So if I highlight this, see what is going to happen. It is highlighting multiple text boxes because all the text boxes have same properties. Like Windows text will be empty for everything, and class name will be same for all the text boxes here. So what are we going to do in this scenario? which attribute will help us to identify the text boxes correctly? So in this case, now again we are going to choose our match index. Okay, choose match index and eliminate Windows text because it is going to be empty. Okay, now try to highlight this. You can see we are able to highlight product code. Okay, now and similarly, let us go ahead and capture the other fields here. Text box underscore unit price. Okay, for this one also we are supposed to go for match index as it is going to highlight other attributes here. So match index value I'm going to update it to 2 because if I leave it as 1, we have already assigned 1 for product code, right? If I leave it as 1, it will again highlight product code only. So that is the reason we are supposed to update the match index here to 2, or else what you can do, you can simply go ahead and capture the text boxes in UI automation spy mode also. So now if you see here, I'm going to capture this in front spy mode, customer account number. I'm going to capture it in UI automation spy mode. You can see the list of attributes here. I will say this one. Now if I highlight, you can see it will highlight perfectly, but it is taking time. Did you observe that it is taking some time to highlight that element? So that is the reason why we prefer Win32 spy mode. Anyways, that's fine. We have captured this one, right? Just say, what is this? Text box underscore customer account number, giving the shortcut underscore UIA, because as this is the Windows application, most of you might be, most of the people might be in the impression that we'll be using Win32 spy mode only. Why I have mentioned UIA here is, so after we develop the code, someone else might be trying to resolve the issues which we have made. I mean to say, like in future also, not immediately, in future, this should be maintained for long time, right? Our automations must be maintained for long time, which we keep reusing in our production. Okay, for that reason, what we do, we provide the proper name here so that they will easily come to know that which element is captured in a different spy mode. Okay, for that reason, we are mentioning the spy mode name also. Okay, if we capture it in a different spy mode. Now go to the next element, identify. So next I'm going to capture. Okay, first let's capture this one. Quantity. So guys, as we discussed earlier, if you remember, for quantity I have given you a lot of scenarios here. So what is going to happen with quantity? So first thing, let us check this, select this text box here. So this is the text box, this is the editable text box. Basically you can edit this and enter the value. Okay, else you can select the value from the drop down also. If you want to select the value from the drop down, you need to capture the whole, this complete drop down. Okay, not the one which is present inside. This will be the text box and this will be the drop down control. Okay, so which one you are supposed to choose based on your requirement. If you are planning to select the value, you have to do that. But whereas sometimes in applications, right, what is going to happen, let me close the spy mode first. I'm closing the spy mode and I'm going to show you manually by creating a what to say, like a order. I'll create a order manually. 25. So if I enter the value here, if I enter the value, I did not select it from the drop down. Observe it, I did not select it from the drop down. I entered the value, and when I type in the customer account number and when I click on submit, see what is going to happen. It is throwing order quantity is not a valid number, although I have entered the correct value. So if you check here in the drop down, you will be having 45. See, you have 45 number available. But when I tried entering the data here, it is not accepting. Application is not accepting. Okay, so application accepts the data only when you select it from the drop down. So let's say if I am going to select the value from the drop down, now you can see order value is auto calculated. This value got calculated here, right? So when you select the value from the drop down, it will be calculated. Okay, so that is the reason why I asked you guys to go ahead and identify the whole drop down. The whole drop down, we capture the whole drop down here. Okay, we capture the whole drop down here. Okay, and then as the class name is talking about combo box, so class name is combo box and that will be unique. So what we can do here, instead of having this text, so let's say for example, now if I highlight, it is highlighting. Now if I change the value in the drop down and if I try to highlight, is it highlighting? No, right? No. In this scenario, what we can do, we can go for wildcard. You don't need to go for match index in this scenario. Match index, when you are going for match index, if you have same drop down control once again, if you have same drop down control once again, then you can go for match index. Else what you can do, make it as wildcard, the match type column, make it as wildcard and mention the value as star. Okay. Now if you highlight this, see it will highlight irrespective of the value present inside that. Irrespective of the value present inside that, it will highlight the drop down. Okay, this is how we are going to capture the drop down. Okay, this is what is this? Select combo box underscore quantity, combo box underscore quantity. Okay, is it clear? Now let us go to the next step here. So where we are going to capture the element. Okay, yeah. Now let us go ahead and capture customer account number. Identify, capture the customer account number. Don't capture the customer. I mean, all the fields must be empty basically. All fields must be empty basically. We should not capture the elements with the data inside it, because if you put the data and capture the element, right, you will be getting the values, what to say, like in the Windows text you'll same all the time. And here you choose match index as 3. I think we have captured this customer account number, right? Yes, yes. In a way, automation is fine. Delete it. Now capture checkbox here. For checkbox, I have told you a different concept. If you remember, for checkbox also, if I highlight, it will highlight more than one matching window is found. Whenever you get this error, right, you need to go to a conclusion that it is trying to highlight more than one matching element. So if I try to highlight this, right, it is highlighting, but what you are supposed to do, don't use these empty values. Okay, empty values are not recommended. Okay, so we remove that and we go for match index again here. Match index, highlight, and it is highlighting some other value. It's inbox button. Okay, basically the control here is button control. The checkbox is a button control. You can see here in the class name, it is a control type button, and here also you can see the element type is button. Okay, so what you do, that is the reason if you select the match index as 1, because the every button will be having same style, and when you highlight it, it will highlight 1. I mean inbox for 1. If the match index value is 2, it will highlight settings. So likewise you need to keep checking for all the things. Okay, so instead of doing that, what you can do, you can select match reverse. So when you select match reverse, it starts so there will be an order for all the buttons and all in the application, like 1 2 3. Now the order will be reversed and it will try to, BluePrism will try to identify the element in the reverse order from bottom. Now if you highlight this, see it is highlighted perfectly. Now if you make the match index value as 1, tell me which button it is going to highlight. Now it will not highlight inbox, it will highlight button submit. Okay, because we have reversed the match index. We are reversing the match index. Match index, we have reversed it. So that is the reason, instead of having the match index value 1 for inbox, it has given match index value for 1 as submit. So we'll make it 2. This is the checkbox. Guys, if you are getting confused, please go through the recording once again. I have already shared the recordings of previous sessions. In that I have explained it more clearly. Today I am a bit fast because I'm repeating the session, right? So checkbox underscore priority order. Okay, this is how we capture all the elements. And final thing is add element, identify, button submit. Button submit. Okay, now uncheck the check boxes here. Now click on highlight. It's very good highlight. Button submit over here. Now, so let us create a reference number. Let us create a reference number here, and then we'll be navigating to the reference order confirmation pop-up. You'll get this pop-up. Now what you need to do, you are again supposed to create an element. Name this as window confirmation. Okay, and uncheck the default true values. Try to highlight it. You are getting that. And now we'll add one more element here. Under this, we are going to add a child. Now identify. Someone asked me yesterday about this. So when we are capturing, can't we capture this specific reference number alone? We won't be able to capture specific number alone because that label is been integrated with this reference number here. So when you develop the code in Windows Forms, you can see inside the label itself, you can define a property to update the reference number value also, right? And that is the reason we won't be able to capture reference number alone. Even if you change the spy mode, you won't be able to capture it. Okay. For that reason, we are going to use it. And but this reference number will not be same for all orders, right? Each and every order will have its own reference number. So what are we supposed to do? Now it is highlighting. Now let us go ahead and create new order, one more order. Submit. What happened? We got the reference number. Now let us highlight and see if you are able to highlight this. See here, it is throwing an error, unable to match any windows with the query terms because the reference number value is updated, and in the Windows text we have the same reference number. I mean the different reference number here. Only when the reference number also matches with the reference number which is available on the application, only then it will highlight. So in this scenario, what are we supposed to do? Again, I am going to utilize wildcard, and I am going to make sure because this value keeps changing all the time. So I'm going to make this as star and close it. Now try to highlight. You will be able to highlight. You create a number of orders all the time, it will be able to highlight this. Okay. So what is this? This is our element. Which element it is? Label reference number. Reference number. Okay. And then we'll add one more element. Identify. Click on button. Okay. This is our button underscore. Okay. So let us eliminate this. Apply and click OK. Okay, that's all. Now we have captured everything, all the required fields. Now here, after reading the reference number and clicking on OK, repeat one second. Is this repeat the steps? We need to repeat these steps basically. From where? From step 3. Repeat step 3, 4, and 5 for all the remaining records. Repeat step 3, step 4, and step 5 for all the remaining records in the Excel file. Okay. So after creating the first record, where we will be navigating, you can see the application. You observe the application, what is happening to the application. Once you create the order for one record, where it is now, how it is navigating back. So once I click on one and once I enter the option number as one and coming to create a new order, and let us enter the unit price over here, choose the quantity, enter the customer account number and click on submit. You'll be getting the reference number here, and once you click OK, you see it is navigating back to order menu page. Yes or no? It is navigating. Where it is navigating back? It is navigating back to order menu page. So you are supposed to repeat these steps again, where you are supposed to enter option number one and click on go and enter the data from the second record and submit and read the reference number, and then again come back to the order menu page. So that is what I have mentioned here. Repeat step 3. This is our step 3 where we are going to enter option number and click on go, and then we enter the order data, and then we are going to get the reference number and read the reference number. Okay, this is what we are going to repeat it. Clear? So this is how we are going to build the application modeler first. First, once we define the application modeler, then we can easily define our actions here as per our requirement. Okay. Any questions so far in attribute selection? No questions? We'll continue. Okay. So now first thing, so here once we go back to our requirement document, first thing is we launch the application and we log in into the application and we navigate through the other screens and then we create the order. Okay. So first thing is launch Centrix data solution from the below path. So for you the path will be updated. Okay, because for you guys, right, you will download the exe file and you will place it somewhere in your, you can put it in F drive, you can put it in E drive, C drive or D drive, wherever it is required. So based on the location where you have kept the exe file, you have to choose that path. Okay, so the path will change for each one of you. Okay, now let us do step by step. So first step, what is the first step? Launch the application. So how are we going to launch the application? Let me close this. So to automatically launch the application from BluePrism, for that we have navigate stage. Open the navigate stage. You will be having element, I mean in actions tab, where you can find element and its corresponding action. Now you pass the element. What is our element? Parent element. You are supposed to pass parent element to launch the application, to launch, to attach, to detach, to what to say, like to terminate, etc. We are going to use this parent element. You drag and drop the parent element, launch. Here we are going to launch the application. Okay, choose launch. Under actions you can see attach, detach, global send keys, hide all windows, launch, terminate. So we are going to launch the application. Okay, so this is the place where we are going to launch the application. Okay, so now if you run this, you will be able to launch the application. Okay, Won't be able to rename the action page as launch. Now create new action. I have already explained why we are creating new actions, because we are not supposed to put any dependency on specific actions here. So launch is a separate action, login is a separate action, selecting orders, navigating orders page is a separate action, choosing the option value is a separate action. Likewise, we have to keep adding new action pages. We should not keep everything in a single page, because if you put everything in a single page, it will be difficult for us to handle the exceptions, and we can't choose the action. If you want to repeat some action, you won't be able to repeat any action here. Okay, so let's say for example, if I want to repeat entering the option number, if I put everything in a single page, if I try to use this action, it will start executing from first stage. We can't execute a specific stage. If you want to execute a specific stage, put it in a separate action page. Okay, that is how we are supposed to build our object. So first launch, and then we are going to log in, new page. So to log in into the application, we are supposed to enter the data there. So how can we enter the data? We use right stage to enter the data. Open the right stage, add two steps here. This is step 1 and this is step 2. Step 1, step 2. In step 1, we are going to enter staff number, and in step 2, we are going to enter password. You can hardcode the values here, but that is not recommended. Don't hardcode the values. Okay, username and password. Let us take data items further. Okay, open the data items, name it as staff number, text value is DT, initial value, and then name it as password. Data type, make it as password, enter the value, password. Okay, so the two values. Now we are going to enter the use staff number and password, and then we are supposed to click on button login. So to perform clicks and all, you are again supposed to use navigate stage. Only to enter the data, to read the data, you are supposed to use read and write stages. Remember, any other action, you are supposed to go for navigate stage. Okay, to select the value from the drop down also, we have to go for navigate stage. Here what are we doing? Enter credentials. Okay, so guys, just a second, I'm getting a call. Hey guys, I'm really sorry. I got an important call. That's the reason. Sorry for that. Yeah. So to enter the data into any text box, so we are going to use this right stage, and to perform a click on the buttons. Now again, we are going to use the navigate stage here. So to perform a click, so button, when you drag and drop a button, you can see the list of actions will be different from what we have seen before. So when I drag and drop our parent element, you can see the action list will be changing here. Launch, attach, detach, terminate, because this specific element is related to exe path. This specific element is having the value of exe where the application is available, exe of the application. But whereas when I drag and drop a button, so on a button, what are all the actions we can perform? That actions will be visible in the action list. So based on the element that you are going to pass, the action list will keep changing. So if I pass a text box, what is this going to do? See the list of actions what you can do in the text box. See, global mouse click, drag, drop, click window, center, something like different actions here. And when you drag and drop a button, you can see different actions likewise. Okay, so click window center. We are not clicking on window, we are clicking on button. So button. So to perform a button, are we doing double mouse click? No, right? How are we clicking on this button? We are doing a single click. That's all. So we are not supposed to choose double mouse click also, but you should simply go for global mouse click. If you go for global mouse click, what is going to happen? It will ask you for x and y coordinates. Do you know where exactly this login button is located? Do you know the x and y coordinates of that? We don't know, right? So for that reason, we will go for global mouse click center, or you can use press also. It will also press. Okay, global mouse click center. Global mouse click center, mouse cursor will go on to top of that and it will click on that and press. It will simply press on that even without moving the cursor. Without moving the cursor, it will be able to click on that. Okay, but not in all scenarios you can use this press. Sometimes some buttons will be failing to use this press action. Okay, it will be pressing somewhere else. Okay, so make sure you are using global mouse click center. It will go on to the button, it will go to the center of the button and it will click on the button. Okay, so button underscore, sorry, click login button. Clear? Are we good so far? And now click OK. Now link these actions here. Now let me show you something. Now what we do basically, okay guys, let us continue after 15 minutes break. I request everyone of you to take a break for 15 minutes and please be back on time. So what is the time now? Okay, 11:15. So be back by 11:30. I want everyone to be back by 11:30. From 11:30 we'll continue again. Okay, please take a break and please be back by 11:30. Requesting everyone to please be back by 11:30. Don't leave the session. I see some of you are leaving the session. Okay, don't.
This conference will now be recorded.
1 second. Okay, so now what are we going to do here is, see, we have defined this action where we are going to launch the application, and there is one more action where we are going to log in into the application. So to log in into the application, we need staff number and password. So in the right stage, now we are supposed to pass the values to the text boxes. So in the element field, you are supposed to pass the element which we have captured using application modeler. In the right stage, to the right side, you can see Application Explorer. Here you can see Data Explorer. Go to Data Explorer, you will be able to see the data items which you have created in the page. Now drag and drop the staff number and password into password. Click OK. Reset the flow. Now close the application here. Now try to run this page and you will be able to, sorry guys, sorry. Try to run this page, you will be able to launch the application now. Yeah, we are able to launch the application and you try to log in here. You can see bot is automatically able to enter his staff number and password and it is able to click on login button. Okay, now observe carefully once again what is going to happen. I'm going to launch the application. Now going to login button, so I mean going to perform login action. So when I try to perform login action, you can see our centric status solution is in the background, the application is in the background. Okay, now if I try to run this, see if it is going to login or not. It will be able to enter the data, but it will not be able to perform the click. It will be able to enter the data, but it will not be able to perform the click because we have used global mouse click center and it is supposed to come on to the button and it's supposed to click on the button. Okay, and that is the reason the button click has not been performed here. So how to resolve this issue? If you remember, we captured all the windows here, right? We captured all the windows for every screen. So now take a navigate stage, open the navigate stage. Okay, drag and drop your window login, and then you will be able to see an action called activate application. So for every window, before you go ahead and enter data into any window, what we do, we will activate the application and then we are going to enter the data into the application. Okay, I mean it will be then able to click on. Window
This
should be active
conference
all
will
the
now
time.
be recorded.
So all the time you have to make sure that the window is active all the time. Okay, so for that reason we are doing this activate application. Understood? Now similarly, now what we do, we will publish these pages. If you, I mean basically everything we have to design in the process studio. As we know that we can't publish this to the control room, we can't publish objects to the control room. When you publish the pages, right, you can utilize these pages in the process studio. Okay, so here we are going to publish this to the process. Right click, click on button publish, and similarly on this page right click and publish this page. After publishing, save it, published pages, save it. Now what we do, minimize this one, let us go back to our process studio. where we are going to, sorry, we'll create a process, and name the process as CDS create order automation. Okay, you can write the description, what are we doing exactly. So this is the process. Now to call the object into process, which stage we are going to use? Which stage we are supposed to use to call the object into process? Anyone can answer which stage we are supposed to use here? We use this action stage, open the action stage, choose this object here. Our object is Centris data solution object. Choose the object, and here you can see the list of actions which we have published: launch and login. Okay, launch, and then now we are going to define the steps in sequence. First we are going to call launch, and then we are going to use login. Okay, now run the process and see if you are able to launch and log in into the application. We are able to launch and log in into the application, yes or no? Now same process, let us increase the speed and run it. I am going to increase the speed and run the flow. If you increase the speed, the debug speed will be more faster compared to the speed which you are running in a normal. Okay, so let's say, for example, observe this carefully. What happened here is bot is able to launch the application, and by the time it is going to log in into the application is not yet launched. Okay, observe this, it has executed this launch stage, but the application has taken time to launch. And meantime, what it has done, BluePrism, it executed this one and it directly went to this stage and it's trying to execute this. If the application is not available, we won't be able to write the values into the text boxes, we won't be able to activate the application, we won't be able to click on the buttons, right? So that is the reason it is going to fail. See what is going to happen. I'm going to start it. See, it executed this stage. Once it executed this stage, it is not able to, by the time it executed this stage, application is not yet launched. Observe it. Once again, I'm going to run it. Observe carefully. It executed launch. See, now it is showing the application. Okay, so, and it tried to execute the stages present inside this action. So what are the stages present inside this action? Login, first thing is activate, and it is not able to activate the window because failed to perform step 1 in the navigate stage. Activate login window, the stage name is activate login window. On page login, unable to match any windows with the query terms because the application is not yet available, and that is the reason we are getting this error. Okay, it is not able to identify, it is not able to activate the application because the application is not yet available. It simply executed launch stage and it is not waiting for the application to load. So what are we supposed to do? Before we go ahead and activate, we are supposed to wait, for the application to be available. So how are we going to do that? In the object studio, we don't have wait stages in process studio. Okay, we can't do that wait in process studio. Okay, because we don't have wait stage in the process studio, we'll be having wait stages only in object studio. So we come to wait stage, drag and drop the wait stage, open the wait stage here. Okay, now we are going to wait for the window. You can wait for the window also. Here, check the existence of the window, wait for application to be launched, or wait for the application is enough. Wait for application. Okay. Only for the first time we are going to use this. So we have to use the conditional waits here. If I remove this condition and if you mention 60 seconds, I mean 60 seconds here, the time will be in 60 seconds here, seconds. If I mention 60 seconds, it will continuously wait for 60 seconds. Before I start this login page, okay, it will continuously wait for 60 seconds. Okay, if I do like this, it is going to wait for complete 60 seconds. Okay, but my application will be available in 50 seconds or 10th second or 20th second or 15th second. At any point of time, my application can be available within the 60 seconds. So for that reason, instead of waiting for the whole 60 seconds, what we can do here, we can put a condition telling that whenever the window is available, then go ahead and enter the data into the application whenever the window is available. This is what the condition is. Now I'm going to link this condition to my activate application. So whenever the window is available, first thing is we are going to activate the application, and then we are going to enter the data into the application, and then we are going to click on the button login. Okay, now save this. Okay. So now let's close this action, I mean this object, come back here to the process studio. Now if you want, you can run it in full speed, not even a bit slow. You can run it in full speed. Okay, completely fast. I moved the debug speed to complete fast. Okay, now let us run this and see if we are able to launch the application and log in. See, without any issue we are able to log in here, right? And you can see the application takes time to load basically, and by the time it is taking to load, it has already completed all the stages. It executed all the stages. Process will be able to execute all the stages within fraction of seconds, but we have to design the solution in such a way that wherever the wait stage is required, we have to keep waiting for that. Okay, wherever the wait stage is required, we have to keep waiting for that. Similarly, if you can observe here, let me close the application. Let us run this once again and see. The process will execute in just fraction of seconds, and still the application will keep loading. Observe that once again. See, it has completed. Now it clicked on login, and now it is performing, I mean now it is able to log in here. Okay, so this is what is going to happen when it gets executed, right? It passes all the commands to that, and it will slowly load. Basically the application will take some time to load, but based on this application speed and all, we have to define our object studio by using proper wait stages. Is that clear now? Okay, so that is how we have built this object, Windows application centric data solution. The same way we have built this whole object: launch, login, click orders in home page, choose the option, enter order detail and submit. Okay, that is how we have built this whole application. Now I will give you 15 minutes time. 15 minutes time. I request every one of you to go ahead and build this object. If you are facing any issue at any point of time, please let me know. I'm giving you 15 minutes time. If you have already completed building this object, that is fine. Who have not completed, requesting you guys to go ahead and capture the elements and then try to build this object. How many of you have already completed this? May I know how many of you have completed this? Yes. I request everyone to please respond. How many of you have completed? Please respond in the chat box. VB is completed, Tirupakal completed. Only 2 people, that's all. Okay. So people who haven't not done it, please go ahead and do it. I'll be waiting 15 minutes and then we'll continue with the next concept. So if anyone wants me to explain this once again, I will explain it in the new object. So we are creating the new object here, right? So if you want, anyone of you wants me to continue on that, we'll go ahead and do that. But I want inputs from you. I want you guys to ask me whether you want me to continue or is it okay. You'll go through the previous day recording and you'll be able to identify that. Please let me know something. I don't see anyone of you responding. Okay, continue. We'll be having 15 minutes time. So let me know. I'll be online only, okay? How many of you want me to build this object once again? Do you guys want me to build this object once again? Anyone of you? Launch, login. I mean, most of you are saying no. Okay, fine. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'll give you some time. Please go ahead and build this object to practice it, and then we'll step into next concept. Okay. So till here, once I want everyone to finish this object, and then we'll step in to next concept. Okay, Sai Kumar, no problem. If you are having any issue with your laptops, right, you can do it later also, no problem. Let me know if you want me to repeat, or if you have any questions regarding any concept here. If you are not able to understand something, please let me know. Okay. Yesterday, some of you guys asked me, right? We missed that session on Friday and all. So who are they? I remember Deepanvita, Alagesh, and some other guys. I don't remember your names. I remember only few of you guys. Okay. So please, I want those guys to tell me if you have understood this concept, or if you want me to explain it quickly. Because I repeated this whole session because of you guys. Okay. I mean, only for you guys, to make it clear for you before we step into the next concept, right? I want you guys also to understand what we are doing exactly here. That's the reason I have repeated the session. So please let me know if you are able to clear, if you have understood everything. Okay, Alagesh replied. Okay, Vishwa. Okay, clear, perfect. Okay. So what we have done here is see. So after creating action pages for launch and login, similarly we have created action pages to click on orders. So here we are clicking on orders, and then we are choosing the option. How are we going to choose the option? We need to enter the data into the text box here. So once you launch the application, just observe this flow. So we are launching the application here, and then logging in into the application. How are we logging in? First, we are waiting for the login page, and then we are trying to activate the application window, and then we are going to enter the staff number and text box into the staff number and password into the text boxes, and then we are going to click on login button. After coming to login button, what is the next action we are supposed to do? Clicking on orders. And how are we doing that? Here. We are doing it here. Okay. Now if you run this, now it is going to wait further, and it is going to activate the application, and it is going to click on button orders. So once you perform this button click, and now next option is entering the option number here. We have to choose the correct option. So reset the flow and run it, and you will be able to see this. You will be able to enter the option number, and will be able to navigate to the new order page. Okay, what are we using here? Right stage, and to perform a click, we are using navigate stage. Right stage to enter the data, navigate stage to click on the button. Similarly, in the next page where we are going to create the new order, first we are supposed to enter product code, unit price, customer account number into the text boxes. All three I am using single right stage here. After activating the application, I am entering the data into three text boxes here: product code, unit price, customer account number. Observe this, how I am doing that. Set as the next stage. Step over, we will be waiting for a specific element, enter new order detail element in this wait stage. So once that element is available, now we are going to activate the application is activated, and now we are going to enter the data into product code, unit price and customer account number text boxes using this right stage. I am going to click on step over. You can see the data has been entered into product code, unit price and customer account number fields. Now we are going to select the value using, quantity, we are going to select the value using navigate stage. We drag and drop the element combo box underscore quantity into the element field, and the action we are supposed to choose here is select item. What is that action? Select item. And what will be the value you are supposed to choose? The value you are supposed to pass into the item text. You are supposed to pass it into the item text. Now once you select, you will be able to select the, once you execute this, you will be able to select this quantity in the drop down. Now we are going to check if the priority order is true or false. Let us see what is the data here. The priority order value is true, so it is supposed to click on the checkbox. It will take S path, it will click on the checkbox, and then it will come to submit. It is taking S path now. Now it is going to click on the checkbox. It has clicked on the checkbox now. Now you can see we are going to submit the order. Button submit is clicked, and we got the order reference number. Now to read the order reference number, first I will wait for that, because after clicking on submit it will take some time to get this screen, right, where we can read the order reference number. So I'm going to use wait stage here. So where I'm going to wait for the window order confirmation. So I will wait for window order confirmation. Then I am going to use read stage. Read stage. I am going to read the data from the label, from this label. That is the reason I'm passing it into the element field. And under data, you'll be getting the list of actions that you can perform on this label. What is the list of actions? Get bounce, get relative bounce, get screen bounce. We don't need all of them. We just need get the text. So we are going to get the text from that label. Whatever the text is available in the label, we are going to get it. And where are we going to store it? We are going to store it in the data item. Where are we going to store it? We are going to store it in the data item reference number. So here is the data item reference number. Where are we going to store it? And now when you execute this, now you can see the reference number value will be coming into this data item. So when the read stage gets executed, read stage will go to this and it will try to read this label, and it will be able to store the data in this reference number. Okay. Now it is going to click on button OK. So once you click on button OK, what happened? It again navigated back to the order menu page to continue with remaining records. Okay. So this is the flow which we are going to define in the Object Studio. Okay. Everyone are clear so far, right? Everyone understood till here? Yes. Now you publish all the pages here. Let me close the other objects. Okay. Let me open the process. No, not this one. Another one. The one which we have. Now once you create the object, publish all the actions inside the object. Here are the list of actions which we have: launch, login, click orders in the home page, choose option, enter order details. Now once you publish all the actions, right, you are going to define them in the, you are going to utilize them in the process studio. Create a process and call each and every action in a sequence. Okay. Now you are going to call each and every action in a sequence. Understood? Please let me know if any one of you have any queries till here, creating a process and calling the actions into the process studio. Okay, so hope everyone are clear so far. Let me see if anyone of you have any questions. Yes, everyone understood, I guess. Okay, perfect. Now, so guys, I want everyone to be alert now because if anyone of your friends are sleepy or if you're beside them, please ask them to wake up. Guys, I want everyone to be active now. We are stepping into a new concept. We are going to get the data from the Excel file and process the data. Okay, so let us go ahead and see how we are going to get the data from the Excel file. I want everyone to be active now, please. Because these things will not be repeated again and again. Okay, only you have to go through the recordings if you want to. I want everyone to be active. Yeah, now, so we have completed the basic steps by creating the object. We have completed the basic steps, and now here is the process where we are calling all the actions in a sequence which are present in the object. Okay, now if you see here, we have launch, login, click orders in the home page, choose option, enter order details and submit. These are all the actions which we have. These are all the actions which we have. Now, what are we going to do here is, now we are going to get the data from the Excel file and we are going to process the data in the application. Now, where is our Excel file? First thing, our Excel file is available in this path. So hope everyone of you have the Excel file with you handy, and I have shared it in the practice material. So this is our Excel file. From this Excel file, we are supposed to read this data. We are supposed to read the data from the Excel file, and then we are supposed to go ahead and create the orders for this data. Now, to read the data from the Excel file, how are we going to do that? So first step, before we go ahead and see how to read the data from the Excel file, let me talk about the difference between visual business objects and internal business objects. I'm not sure if I have already explained you the difference between visual business objects and internal business objects. So internal business objects are the ones which are internal to BluePrism, and collections, calendars, credentials, data gateways, all these are the features of BluePrism. Remember what are they? They are the features of the BluePrism. So collection is part of BluePrism, right? So we have a collection here. If you want to manipulate the collection, if you want to add a row to the collection, if you want to add a row to the collection, empty row, you can use this add row. If you want to copy rows from the collection, you can copy the rows. If you want to count how many columns present inside the collection, you can count them. If you want to count how many rows available, we can count the rows. So instead of writing a programming language to identify how many records are there, you can directly use these actions. Okay, you just pass the name of the collection and you will be able to identify how many rows are present inside that collection. It's a simplified approach to work on collections. Likewise, we have multiple internal business objects, collections, calendars. So in calendars, you will be able to see multiple actions here: add working days, count working days in range, get other holidays in range, get working days in range, something like this. Okay, now similarly, we'll be having credentials where you can generate the credentials. You can set a new password. You can generate a new password basically automatically. So we will see how to use all these. Okay. So all these are the features in the BluePrism. So they are called as internal business objects, and these actions we can't modify these actions. We can't modify these actions. If you want to add one more action to this, you won't be able to add it. Okay. Clear? It is internal to BluePrism. We can't modify these actions inside the collections. Okay. Now, similarly, when you go to the visual business objects, we'll be having two types of objects here: internal business objects and visual business objects. We call them as visual business objects, the ones which we have created. So if you see here, under IOPEX objects, we have, this is our folder, and under this folder, you can see Centrix data solution object, which we have created, demo object, which we have created, object demo, which we have created. All these are objects only. All these are objects only, but these are internal, where we can't modify them. These are the visual business objects which we can modify. So what is our object which we have used so far? This one, right? You can see the list of actions here: launch, login. So to work on Centrix data solution, to work on application Centrix data solution, we have created this object, and we are able to define the actions like launch, login. Similarly, to work on Excel, what are we supposed to do? To work on Excel, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to create an object like this? Can we go ahead and create a new object in the BluePrism Object Studio? Coming to here, can I say right click, create object, and define for Excel object? Can I say something like this? Yes, you can do that. You can do that. But what is going to happen? So let's say, for example, this is my Excel file. This is my Excel file. We know how to launch the Excel file and all. So you can easily create the object. But whereas if you want to read the data from this, are you going to capture each and every cell here? Are you going to capture each and every cell? Are you going to spy each and every cell? No, we are not going to do that. Okay. To read the data from such kind of applications like Excel, we have this Outlook and SQL Server, Oracle databases. To work on these things, we will be using VBOs. BluePrism has provided the VBOs to utilize for working on generic applications like Excel, Word, and then we have a SQL Server, Oracle database, and then what else we have? We'll be having this, yeah, what are the data sources? Uh, Web services, SOAP API, REST API, etc. Okay, so go to program files, BluePrism Limited, BluePrism Automate. Inside that, you will be able to see VBO folder. What is the path? Everyone, please navigate here. Please, in your systems, please navigate to this folder. C drive, go to C drive, program files, BluePrism Limited, BluePrism Automate, and VBO. And someone, I remember, for someone I have installed BluePrism 32-bit version. For 32-bit, go to C drive, program files x86. Inside that you will be finding BluePrism Limited. Inside that you will be having VBO folder. Okay. So for remaining guys, for you it will be in program files, BluePrism Limited, BluePrism Automate. Inside that you will be able to find VBOs. Okay. So now if you see here, we have VBOs for all the applications, most of the applications: calendars, OLEDB, SQL Server, Google Sheets, MS Excel, Outlook email, MS Word, Active Directories, collection manipulation. So apart from the actions which we have internally, so let's say for example, this is our internal collections object, right? This is our internal object collections. Under this we'll be having some actions. Okay, some actions. Okay, now if you go to utility collection manipulation, right, you can see n number of actions, not only counting the rows and all. So if you go for this internal business object, what actions we have here? Add row, copy row, count columns, count rows, remove all rows, remove row. That's all. Can I add a new column to this? So let's say if I want to add a new column to a collection, will I be able to do that? No, I can't use this collections internal business object. So for that reason, we will be having utility collection manipulation, where you can append a field, where you can append rows to the collection. Collection contains field. You can check if the collection is having a specific field or not. You can copy the rows from the collection. You can delete the column. You can delete the field. You can check if the field is existing or not. You can fill the blank rows. You can filter the collection. You can get collection fields. You can merge the collections like this. Okay. So like this, you will be able to have multiple actions that you can perform on the collections. Okay, what is the collection? This is our collection. On this collection, if you want to do any manipulation to this collection, you will be able to do using this utility collection manipulation. Likewise, if you want to get the data from the Excel file, you don't create a new object for that. You directly go for this VBOs. You will be having these available VBOs. You can use these VBOs and you will be able to read the data from the Excel files. So all those are the generic applications. Now I request every one of you to import this VBO, MS Excel VBO. How to import this MS Excel VBO? I'll show you. Go to the main window of the BluePrism. This is the main window of the BluePrism. Go to the main window of the BluePrism. Click on File. Click on File. Go to the main window of BluePrism and click on File. Go to Import. Click on Processor Object. Click on Processor Object. Now click on Browse. Okay, and pass the path, or you can navigate to C drive. In C drive, you can find program files. In program files, you'll be able to find BluePrism Limited. Inside that, you will be able to find BluePrism Automate. Inside it, you will be able to find VBO folder. In this VBO folder, you choose the required object, select the object, click on Open. Okay, say Next. It will now import the object because I already have the object. That is the reason it is asking me to overwrite. So I don't need to overwrite because I already have the object. Now choose the object, continue with this navigation. Click next, next, next. It will import the object. So let me repeat the steps. How to import the object: file, import, object, processor object. Click on browse, go to the path where your VBOs are available: C drive, program files, BluePrism Limited, BluePrism Automate VBO. Inside that, they will be having a folder called VBO. Inside that, choose the object MS Excel, BPA object MS Excel. Click on open and click next, 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 and you will be able to import the object. Yes, similarly, I request every one of you to go ahead and import all the objects. Similarly, I request every one of you to not right now, you can do it later. Okay, I request every one of you to import all these objects. Okay, all these objects. Clear? Okay, so now once you import the object, right, you will find the object in a default folder. Under default folder, you can see there will be an object MS Excel VBO. What is that? MS Excel VBO. You can see here the version history. It says that business object created by importing a release. Business object created by importing a release. Okay. Completed? Let me know if you have completed. I continue. Everyone have imported this object, MS Excel VBO. As I'm seeing very few responses, I request every one of you to please respond. At least if I see 15-20 responses, right, I can proceed further. Please respond, guys. Okay, I'm requesting you to please respond. Because we are not in the classroom session, right? If we were in the classroom session, it would be easy for me to identify by looking at your faces whether you have done it or not. Okay, not all the time. Sometimes I will be able to identify, but here as it is online. So I request you guys to please let me know if you are able to do it or not. If not, I want you guys to ask me what is the issue and all. If you can let me know the issue, I'll explain it once again. Okay, so coming back to that, so here we have the object. So this is how you will be able to see this MS Excel VBO object in this. Okay, now what you do, go back to your process. Once you import the object, right, refresh your process. There is a button called refresh. Don't forget to do this. Okay, if you don't do this, you won't be able to see that in the list of the objects. Okay, so that is the reason. Refresh the process. Refresh the process. Once you refresh the process, open your action stage. Go to default folder under Visual Business Objects. There will be a folder default. Inside that, you will be having MS Excel VBO. What is that? MS Excel VBO. Choose that MS Excel VBO. You can do parallelly with me in case if you are in front of your missions and if you want to do it parallel with me, yeah, you can do that. Choose MS Excel VBO, and in the list of actions you can see there will be multiple actions available here. You can see multiple actions available here. Okay, so what are all the actions we have? We can what to say, activate the worksheet, activate workbook, activate worksheet, attach to workbook, close all instances, close instance, close workbook, copy and paste worksheet range, create instance, create workbook, create worksheet, cut, delete worksheet, exit. These are all the functions. See, you can format the cells, you can format current cell. So choose the format cell, you can see cell format, etc. You can supply all the inputs to that specific action. So let's say, for example, what is the first step you are supposed to do here? What is the first step you are supposed to do here? So let us come back to the Excel first. So first thing is, whenever you want to open an Excel file, you can open it in two ways. One is directly you go to the Excel file path, directly double click on the Excel file, you will be able to open it. You will be able to open it. Okay, but whereas now if you come here and if you type Excel, click on Excel 2013. So based on your systems, you'll be having your own versions. So once you do that, what you'll be able to see here, you'll be able to see the instance of the Excel. This is the instance of the Excel. What is that? It is an instance of the Excel. In this instance, you will be able to open multiple workbooks. See, right now I did not open any workbook, but I am able to open the instance of the Excel. Okay, so similarly, how we have an instance of BluePrism. So this is one instance of BluePrism. Can I go ahead and create one more instance of BluePrism here? Yes, I will be able to launch one more BluePrism. Once again, I will be able to launch BluePrism, and I will be able to log in into that instance also. Once I log in into this instance, you can see, you can go to the navigate stage here. Are you able to see the same instances twice? Same instance of BluePrism twice, yes or no? IOPEX, you can see these processes, objects, etc. Same thing. This is one instance and this is the other instance. We have two instances now. Okay, instance 1, instance 2. Okay, so now if I ask you to open a process, let's say for example, if I ask you to open this first process for a demo, what will be your question to me? You will ask me, hey, you asked me to open a process, but let me know from which instance you want me to open a process. From which instance you want me to open a process. Similarly, in Excel also, when you are working with Excel application, you will be able to create multiple instances, and on an instance you will be able to open multiple Excel workbooks. This is called as workbook. Basically, this is a workbook. This is a workbook, Excel workbook. What we call it as Excel workbook. Okay, and this is the instance. This is the instance, and that is the workbook. Okay, now, so coming back to our BluePrism, so what we do here now, we'll open the action stage. We'll choose MS Excel VBO and say create instance. What is the first step? We are first supposed to create instance. What is that? Create instance. So here you will be having an input called as enable events. So what is this enable events is going to do? So basically this Excel file, right, whenever you try to open the Excel file, if there is any error or any other disturbance, right, I mean to say, like if the Excel file format is incorrect or any small events will be there which will be triggered automatically by the Excel file based on the data which we have. So if you want to see some pop-ups, you have to make that enable events as true. If you make that enable events as true, you will be able to see some pop-ups on the Excel launch. But I don't want to see any pop-ups when I launch my Excel file. So that is the reason I'm going to leave it blank. Blank is nothing but by default it is going to take false. Okay. So forget about the input here for this. Every time you create the instance, don't worry about this enable events. Now go to the outputs, create the output. It will automatically generate say handle ID. Okay. So what is the first thing? We are first going to create the instance and then we are going to open our workbook. Now to open the workbook, copy paste this action, open that. So here you will choose the action open workbook. So once you get this action open workbook, once you select this, it will ask you two inputs. Tell me the handle and what is the file name. So let us rename this data item. Instead of handle, let us provide a proper name here. Instance ID. Okay, let us provide a proper name, and here also when we create the instance, we are going to store it in a data item called instance ID. We store it in a data item called instance ID. So once you store it in the data item instance ID, now we are going to open the workbook based on that instance. I mean, on that instance only we are going to open the workbook. Pass the instance ID. Now say file name. Where is our file name? Take a data item. Okay. What do you mean by file name? File name is nothing but you right click, view action in the object studio. I'm going to right click and click on view action in the object studio. We have now, so far we have not opened this Excel VBO, right? We imported that and we have left it like that. Now I'm going to open that visual business object. So here if you see, we have a lot of actions available here. Yes or no? All the actions which are published, you will be able to see them. All the actions which are published, you will be able to see them. And this is how the object will be defined. And here you can see the inputs. What are the inputs? Handle number and file name. File name means the path of the file which should be opened, the complete path. It's not just the name of the file, but it is going to give the complete path. And what is the output you are going to get? The name of the workbook that Excel uses to identify it. Okay, it will give you the output. So when you pass the complete path, in the output it will show you, okay, I have opened this Excel, and it will give you the name of the Excel which it has opened. Okay, so in the open workbook, so if you don't know, anytime if you don't know what inputs exactly you are supposed to pass for that action, right, you can go to that action in the object studio and see what are the parameters they are defined and what are you supposed to enter over there. Okay, so here this object is not using any application modeler also. There is no application modeler defined for this object. Okay. So what are they doing is they have written everything in the programming language. They are using programming language here. to open the Excel file, to create the instance, etc. Okay. So that is how they have built all the objects. All these VBOs are built in the same way. So in C drive, program files, BluePrism Limited, BluePrism Automate, under VBO folder, you can see all these objects, right? All of them, none of them will be having this application model defined. Everything they have written in the program, C# or VB script. Okay. Now we are just going to utilize them. That's all. We already have all the actions defined. We are going to utilize them. If you want to add some actions to this, will you be able to add? Yes, you will be able to add, but you should follow the same programming language which they have defined. In the initialize page, we will be able to find what is the programming language they have defined. Under information box, here under code options, what is the programming language they are using here? Visual Basics. Visual Basic. You can write the code in C# and Visual J# also. But they have chosen Visual Basic and they have written in the complete thing in a C#, I mean Visual Basic program. So if you add a new page and if you try to do the programming in C#, if you write the program in C#, you won't be able to execute it. It will throw compilation errors because all the namespaces which are present here are related to VB namespaces, everything. Microsoft Visual Basic. You will be having same namespaces in C# also, but this won't support. Since the language is Visual Basic, it will not support. Understood? So that is how they have built all these objects. And now we are going to import all of them and we are going to utilize them. Now coming back to Excel, how are we going to open the Excel file now? Sorry guys, 1 second. So open workbook. To open the workbook, you need two inputs. One is instance ID, another one is file path. So let us go ahead and get the file path. So my file is available in Centrix Data Solution. This is the path. Shift, hold your shift button and right click on that Excel file. You will be getting it as copy as path. Copy as path. Come back. Open the Excel file. Open the Excel file and don't paste it here directly. Don't paste it here directly. Pass it through data item only. Pass it through data item. Go to the data item. Change the data item type to text and pass the value here. Okay. And don't put it in double quotes in this. Home. Remove the double quotes. Whenever you define the values in the data items, don't put it in double quotes. Okay. This will be our Excel file path. Okay, this will be our Excel file path. Now what are we supposed to do? Go to open workbook and pass the input Excel file path, and then we are going to get an output from that. After passing the input, we are going to get the output here. What is the output? Workbook name. For each action, we will be having inputs and outputs. We need to utilize wherever it is required. So we are going to get the workbook name. So for this, the output is, for create instance, output is instance ID. For open workbook, output is workbook name, and input is instance ID, and Excel file path will be the inputs, and output is workbook name. Now we are going to have one more action. Then we are going to choose the options here. So now we are going to utilize this get worksheet as collection, get worksheet as collection fast, get worksheet as collection offset, and get worksheet as range. These are the four different actions which we have to get the data. Okay, now let me explain what is the difference between each action. So get worksheet as collection. When you use get worksheet as collection, here it will ask you to pass the handle, which is instance ID, and it will ask you to provide the workbook name from which we are planning to get the data. and we are supposed to pass the sheet name. So whatever the sheet in which we are having the data, we are supposed to pass that sheet name. So let us go to Excel file and take the confirmation. What is our sheet name? Open this orders.xls. Once you open the file, you can see the sheet name. Here is the sheet name. What is the sheet name? Orders. So try to copy it exactly from there, because BluePrism is case sensitive, as I informed you earlier. Now take a data item, open the data item, give a name as sheet name, and choose the data type as text. Please pass the initial value as orders. So this is our sheet name. So we are going to get the data from the specific instance ID, and in that specific we have opened in this instance ID we have opened this workbook. Now it will go to that workbook and it will try to get the data from the, and it is going to get the data from the sheet name. Which sheet? Orders. Orders is the sheet from which you are going to get the data. Understood? Okay. Now in the outputs we are going to get the data here. So what is the data we are going to get from this? That is nothing but our product data. We are going to get the product data. I defined the name. Now I'm going to click on this button. It will automatically create a collection. You can see it has created a collection here, right? We got the collection as the output. Okay. Now we know once we get the data inside the collection, and it will be easy for us to go ahead and utilize the data which is present inside the collection. You know, right, how to use the data present in the collection? Hope everyone know how to use the data present inside the collection. Yes, sir. So first, what are we going to do? We're going to link from start to create instance, and then there to open workbook, and then from there to get worksheet as collection. First, we are supposed to get the source data, and then only we will work on the remaining part. Okay. So first we get the source data. So once we make sure that we got the source data, then only we will go ahead and launch the application, and we will go proceed further. Without having the source data, there is no point of launching the application or logging in into the application and all. So first we make sure that we got the source data, and then we will step into creating the orders or launching the application, whatever it may be. Okay. So here, so now let me tell you the difference between these three. So it will go to specific ID, it will go to that workbook, and it will get the data from the worksheet. Okay. Now let us run this till here, and then we will see. Let me put a breakpoint. Let me link from here to here. Okay. Reset. Set this as our next stage. Let me close this Excel file. We should not keep our Excel file open, so I'm closing it. Step first, it is going to create the instance. Observe this instance ID data item. Observe that instance ID data item, and see if you are able to get the instance ID value. Bold. Let me increase the size a bit. Okay. See here. Now, when I create the instance, when I execute that create instance, hold on, basically it takes some time to create the instance. I mean, my machine is a bit slow, my processor is a bit slow. That is the reason it is taking that much time. If you are having updated processors and all, it will be very fast. Okay. So we have created the instance here. We got the ID value. See what is the instance ID? How many Excel files we have? Now go to the task manager. If you want to verify it, now you can see in the task manager under the background processes, right? Under the background processes, you can see there will be a Excel instance. So this is our extra Excel instance. Okay, this is our Excel instance. Okay, in this instance we are now going to open the workbook. We are now going to open the workbook. Which workbook? I have mentioned the path here in this data item. This is our workbook path, right? This is our workbook path. Okay, I'm going to make it bold again. Just increase the size so that it will be visible for you. So this is our Excel path. Now on this instance I want to open this workbook, so those are the inputs I am passing to open workbook. On this instance open the Excel file, and now I'm going to get the data and then I'm going to store it in the collection. Now execute this. Okay, now go back to your okay. Hold on 1 second. So so now the Excel workbook is open and you can see the output. It is giving you orders.excel. So basically we will be having one more action here where you can the whole thing will be happening in the background ideally. Okay, but if you want to see the Excel, right, you can use an action called as show. What is that? Show, and pass the instance ID. Pass the instance ID into that. That will be the input. Okay, now you link this from here to here. Now let me set it as the next stage and execute. Now you can see the Excel file is open in the bottom. See, our Excel file is open. Understood? Here is the Excel file. Now, and when you go to the background task manager, you can see under the instance, you will be able to see that Excel file. See, here is the instance. Under that instance, we have opened orders.xls. How we have opened? We have opened it using create instance, open workbook, and then once you click on show only, it will be able to show the Excel file. Otherwise, everything will happen in the background only. Even if you don't show, even if you don't use this show action, you will be able to get the data here. Okay, let me show you. Now, when I execute, you can see from this workbook we asked it to get the data. Okay, so here I'm passing instance ID, workbook name, and then sheet name. Where is my sheet name? This is the sheet name, and we got the data into this collection. We are storing it in the collection, and you can see the data here. So this is the data which it has extracted. Understood? Okay, so now once we get the data, we know how to work on the records. We use loop stage, we iterate through all the records inside the collection. Okay, so this is how we are going to get the data from the Excel. Okay, now so now let me tell you the difference between other actions here. So let me reset the flow, close the Excel file. Even if there is any instance in the background, see, even after closing the Excel file, sometimes you'll be leaving those instances in the background. So what we are supposed to do every time, right? We can't go ahead and end the instances like this. We can't go to task manager and end the instances like this. Okay, even after resetting and closing the workbook, we will be left over with some of the instances in the background. So to close them again, we take one more action. We choose MS Excel VBO and we define it inside this we are going to choose close instance. What is that? Like how we have created the instance, we are going to close that instance. And We are supposed to pass the instance ID so that it will close that specific instance. So it is going to close that specific instance. Okay. So you create the instance, open the workbook, get the data, close the instance. Good practice. This is the best practice you are supposed to follow. Okay. Start, create instance, open the workbook, show the workbook, get the data from the Excel sheet and close the instance. Okay. This is how you are going to do. Now let me talk about the other actions here. And before I get into the other actions now, let me close this, delete this. Even without showing the Excel file, we will be able to get the data in the background. Okay, just see how we are going to get the data. Set next stage. I'm going to execute this, run it. It will open the workbook. You can see the output will be the orders file name. See, and inputs we are passing file path. To get the worksheet as collection, we are passing order workbook name, instance ID, and then sheet name to get the data here. So once this stage gets executes, you can see the data will be available in this collection. Okay, and then we can utilize this data. Okay, now similarly we have different actions to get the data from the worksheet. So what are they? We have different actions here. What are they? Get worksheet as collection, get worksheet as collection fast, get worksheet as collection offset. So when we say get worksheet as collection fast, what do you mean by that? Is it having any inputs here? You will not have any inputs. It will simply give you the data, and from where it is going to get the data from which Excel file it is going to get the data, from which sheet it is going to get the data. So it will simply get the data from the active workbook and last sheet. Last sheet in sense, no. Let me explain. So we have get worksheet as collection fast. What this is going to do, right? So in the Excel file, whichever the sheet is active, what do you mean by active? So our data is present in orders, right? I will choose sheet 2 here. Assume I'm going to choose sheet 2. Okay. Now let me save my workbook. I selected sheet 2 and I saved the workbook, and now I clicked on close. Okay, clear? Now if I choose get worksheet as collection, and if I mention go ahead and get it from the so and so specific sheet name, we will mention to get the data from the sheet name, specific sheet name, specific workbook name, and then we'll provide the specific instance. So it will simply, even though if we are in a different sheet while saving the Excel file and closing it, if we are in a different sheet, although sheet 2 is selected and that is active, it will simply go to orders sheet and it will get the data. But whereas this get worksheet as collection fast, what it is going to do, it will not get the data which we are expecting. It will simply get the data from whichever the sheet is active. Whatever the sheet is active in the Excel file, it will get the data from that sheet. Okay. Now let me run this and show you which data we are going to get. Now see here, I'm going to run this. We are going to create the instance and output will be instance ID. One is the value. Now to open the workbook, we are passing the instance ID and Excel file path as inputs. It will open the workbook in the background, and you can see it is telling us, hey, I opened the workbook. Your workbook name is orders.xls. Okay. Now here we are going to get the data. Get worksheet as collection fast. What data we are expecting? We are expecting that to get the data related to product data. Okay. From the orders sheet. But what is the data we are going to get? So when I executed this, you can see the collection is updated here with the data, and the data present inside this collection is customer account number, product code, which is present in the sheet 2. What is that? Where we have this data? Ideally, one second. Debugging is not available, so don't try to debug by opening the stages. Okay. So you can see, if I open the orders Excel file, you can see what data we have got. We got this data present in the sheet 2. So because since this is active, we got the data from this sheet. Now if I make orders as my sheet, active sheet, I will save the Excel file. Now I made orders as my active sheet. I will save the Excel file and close the Excel file. Now run the flow once again. Now run this flow once again. See, we did not define any inputs here, right? We did not define any inputs. Actually, it is not asking for any inputs basically. Create instance, open the workbook, get the worksheet as collection. Are we able to get the data from the orders sheet? See, because that is the active sheet now, and that is the reason we are able to get the data from that sheet. So get worksheet as collection passed. How it is going to work? It is going to get the data from the active sheet. It is going to get the data from the active sheet from the active Excel workbook. So this workbook is active and it is going to get the data from this sheet. Okay, whichever the sheet is active. So let's say you add new sheet and you make it active, this third sheet with some data in it. So whichever the sheet is active, it will get the data from that sheet. Because we are not mentioning to get it from a specific sheet, right? We did not mention anywhere to get it from a specific sheet. So that is the reason it won't be able to, I mean, it will simply get the data from the active sheet. Understood? Now similarly, we have two more options here. The other one is get worksheet as collection offset. What do you mean by offset? What do you mean by offset? So in the offset, see the inputs, what it is, what are the inputs it is expecting. One is instance ID, set provide me the workbook name and provide me the sheet name. Along with that, tell me from which cell I am supposed to start reading the data, from which cell I am supposed to get the data. Okay, so we'll pass the workbook name, we'll pass the sheet name, we'll mention the instance ID also, and then along with that, if I say, if I want to extract the data from a specific cell, so let's say for example I want to extract the data from cell B6. Okay, cell reference, we are supposed to provide the cell reference here, column B, row number 6. Okay, and use headers true. Okay, I want to use headers. Okay, now we are going to store it in this collection. Now click OK. Now let us set this as our next stage. First we are going to create the instance, open the workbook. Now we are going to get the data and then close the instance. And then now let us verify the data. First let me open the Excel file. So what is the cell reference I have mentioned? B6, yes or no? B6, right? This is the cell reference which I have mentioned, B6. Okay, this is our cell reference. So it will start picking up the data from this cell. And open this product data collection, we can see the data will be from that specific cell ABC-125. From there we will be able to see that. See, ABC-125. Okay, ABC-125 2.165 true. Okay, first column, first row. Similarly, from there it will read all the data till here. So till which cell you have the data, it will read till there. Okay, it will not read the whole Excel file. It will not read the empty records. Okay, it will just read till where we have the data from a specific cell. Now similarly we have one more action. So offset is nothing but you need to specify from which cell you want to get the data, and then we have get worksheet range as collection. When you choose this get worksheet range as collection, it will ask you to mention the start cell and end cell also. So you can define the range here. In offset, you just need a starting cell, whereas in range, you need to define start cell and end cell both. Okay, so close this. Let me make it as false. So let me define that from B6 to okay E15. Okay, assume from B6 to E15. We want to get the data from B6 to E15 is the end cell reference. Now see which data we are going to get from the Excel file. So what is the data from B6 to E15? So see here. So E6 B6 to E15. This is E and this is B6 E15 E row 15. I mean E column 15 cell till here. This is the data which we are going to extract. B column 6th row. From here I want to get the data till here. E column 15th row. Start point, end point. Let us verify if you are able to get this data or not. Okay. So you can simply start the flow. Create instance. It is then going to open the workbook. It is then going to get the worksheet as collection. So now you can see here, go to the current values. You can see here we got the data here, yes or no? From this B6 to till here. Okay. Now check if it is correct or not. How can you check? You just open the Excel file. B6 the pop-up B6 to till where 15. Yeah. Are you able to get the same data? You can verify it. B6, this is our B6 and E15 till here. So yes, are we able to get the data? So this is how we are going to use get worksheet as collection, get worksheet as collection fast, get worksheet as collection offset, get worksheet as collection range. Based on our requirement, we will use. So according to our requirement, what are we supposed to do now? We should have all the data, right? So in this scenario, which one we are supposed to use? I am going to use get worksheet as collection, basic action. What am I going to use here? Get worksheet as collection. Okay, so it will get the data from the specific instance ID, workbook name, and sheet name. Okay, any questions? I'm not sure how many of you have slept. Yeah, by default, if you leave the flag like that, right, empty, it will be false. It will be taking false.